Jesse and Jeff here. We're here talking to a representative from the police department today about domestic violence. Thanks for letting us stop by. We do have a question. Is there domestic violence in our community? And if so, to what extent?
Unfortunately, no community is immune to domestic violence or family violence in any manner, and Rowlett is no exception to this rule. On average, we respond to probably 5 incidents of reported domestic violence each week. Now that could be where an arrest is actually made, or it could be a call in which a patrol officer gets there and a report is made on an assault that already occurred. And these assaults, as you may well know, can range greatly from a simple assault, which is assault by contact, when someone places their hands upon someone and the touch is unwarranted or unwanted and the contact is offensive, and it can range up into assault with deadly weapons.
Our second question is, how does domestic violence impact the kids, the families, and the organizations in our community?
Domestic violence has a strong impact ranging from our youth all the way up to our adults. Unfortunately, when family violence occurs, we got to remember that there's not just one victim, but there's many victims, including the children who maybe live in the household. And what we want to do is try to stop that cycle, because once they see that, it can affect their schoolwork, their friends, their social life, and could possibly lead to them thinking that's an acceptable relationship and one day seeking a relationship that is just the same as they witnessed.
Our third question is, what is the Rowlett Police Department doing to help the people dealing with domestic violence?
Other than answering the calls which I previously mentioned and responding to these calls, Rowlett does a great deal in trying to help the victims of family violence. When we do arrive on scene, of course, the first thing we want to do is to protect the victim and family, any other family that may be in the house, such as kids or relatives. So we want to make an arrest, if at all possible, if we can determine that an actual family violence or domestic violence assault has occurred. After making the arrest, there are several other things that we can do. One is provide an emergency protective order to the victim, which not only covers the victim, but also the place of employment, the home residence, and the children and their school. We also give out a pamphlet to every victim of family violence, and inside this pamphlet you'll find there's lots of information about victims' rights, as well as resources from Rockwall and Dallas County and all over the Metroplex that can help them and assist them in getting attention and the assistance they need.
We really want to make a difference too for the people who are affected by domestic violence. So our last question is, what can our church do to help the police department with domestic violence?
As with any crime, what this church can do, along with the entire community, is bring education and awareness to this horrible crime. And by that what I mean is, we need to educate victims that they're not to blame, it's not their fault, and not to stay in an abusive relationship. Also, they need to understand that they're not only protecting themselves, but their future generations as well. So as far as the church goes, I would hope that you could bring awareness to family violence, domestic violence, and family assault, and let people know that it is a real problem, and if it occurs, it's best not to just let it go unreported, but notify the police immediately. Sadly, oftentimes, as I mentioned earlier, we have lots of calls regarding family violence that we respond to, but unfortunately, there's a lot that go unreported. By educating the public and bringing awareness to domestic violence, we hopefully can end this and stop the cycle.